Hi, I want to thank my audience for being here. I'm Gordana from Wavefront. Yeah, everything counts. So I want to thank you for being here, 5:30, last presentation, etc. So I'm going to talk about code instrumentation. I'm going to walk you through what it is, why you should do it, and how you can do the code instrumentation. So let's start with what are the major challenges with today's cloud native application, and it is scale. I mean, today's microservices with everything wrapped in small pieces and connected together. You have thousands of them, and it scales big. And if you use containers for each part of the service, even going bigger, right? And dynamism in sense, time, short, living, ephemeral. So it's huge complexity, it's hard to manage, and for that reason, you should do application of your code to figure out what are the issue and to get the perfect picture of your presentation. First, why you're doing it is to understand your application, and metrics are perfect for that because they are like numbers and small snapshots, and you can easily compress them and storage them. So that's the major benefit of metrics. That for the metrics, when you instrument your code, you can go to any monitoring tool, and then you can track what's going with your performance. You can track the history, what's happened in the past, and that's good for your baselines. And then the real-time information is very important for proactive monitoring and for reactive troubleshooting. So that's one thing. The other thing is when you gather your information from your application, monitoring enables you to monitor and application and infrastructure. So you get all that information together, all the layers in between, connection, network information, and you can get everything that in a single place. And that's Wavefront for monitoring in this case. And in having the single place enables you to see what's going end-to-end in your full stack. At the same time, it enables collaboration between the teams. So you understand your application. Now, when the trouble comes, you can try to troubleshoot, and metrics are good for that because it gives you the quickly where your trouble is, and you can, thanks to metrics, find anomalies faster. You can do forecasting, prediction, and that will reduce your MTTR. Now, when you have that information of anomalies that can happen in your system, you can use it as a best practices and create alerts, and use alerts connected to the PagerDuty and Slack to alert you so that you can solve your issue before it becomes an issue for your customer. Optimizing performance end-to-end, you can understand what's going on, and that information can enhance you to maximize your application and the cost that comes with that. So who are the major benefits, who can benefit for application code instrumentation? All people. So starting from developers, when they want to meet some specific goal, functional goal, when they troubleshoot, they can spot anomalies, they can predict how the requests grow. On the other side, SREs also have to monitor your application to make sure that there is no any degradation, there is no faults, so they can fastly respond and remove the issue blocker. And finally, business people, because they can, you can have business metrics, and most useful metrics are actually custom metrics that are unique for your business. So when you get that information inside, business analysts can look how the user is using and what he's doing with your product and how they can improve. What kind of metrics? So you can start with the standard metrics like Amazon CloudWatch Connect, so infrastructure standard metrics regarding CPU, memory, storage, then network that connects those parts. And as I mentioned, most useful metrics are custom metrics. They're unique, and they can tell you what's the health of your business. Regarding how can you do instrumentation of your code, you can use open source metrics, and when you look at their benefits against, for instance, application performance monitoring tools, they are very lightweight. They don't influence your application performance, so this is a big plus. The second plus is that you don't have vendor lock-in. You can go for any monitoring tool that you want to use, and in case of APMs, you have to use that particular tool. And finally, costs, because open source libraries are free, while APMs, I think, charge from $200 to $400 per agent. So that adds up. Open source libraries are like StatsD, Dropwizard, Micrometer, and they cover many languages you can choose from. Java, Python, Go, and Node.js are one of the most popular ones. What are the essential metrics that you should take care of an instrument? So there are different visions, and those signals are usually known as golden signals. And Google SREs actually even published a book, and they more usually focus on 4 metrics, and those are latencies. That gives you information about the response time, traffic, that's a good measure of your demand traffic. Further on, saturation, that means what kind of overload do you have, and errors. Also are known use and RAD method, used for utilization, saturation, and errors, and RAD for rate, meaning the number of your requests per second, errors, and duration. Other useful than these basic metrics are application instance counts. Usually you want that information because it's related to costs. Application uptime, for instance, request rates, and of course different kind of error rates. For advanced users, any garbage collection metrics related is very important, as well as, for instance, transaction volumes or page load times. And now for those of you who are new to Wavefront, I will just give a brief introduction. So Wavefront is cloud-native analytics and monitoring tool. It enables you to gather metrics either from cloud. You can use even on-prem metrics, or if you have a hybrid, it can be used. It can be used for serverless, for containers. So all kind of and application metrics, infrastructure metrics. So all that metrics you gather and send to Wavefront, and Wavefront charts them. We have out-of-the-box dashboards, and then you can spot visually how your application performs, and you can correlate with infrastructure and see if there is any infrastructure problems that manifests problems in your application. Also, Wavefront has short links that you can, with a one click, get the snapshot of your dashboard and all data that support the dashboard, and send it via Slack or email to your colleagues, and together you can brainstorm and try to solve the problem. One of the mentioned open source libraries at the beginning was StatsD, and this is the graph how you can implement Wavefront and the StatsD together. So you instrument your code, you need the library, you import your library, and in this case, a telegraph is helping with transferring those metrics to the Wavefront proxy. And Wavefront proxy, you can also batch or filter your data or aggregate as you like, and then specify even the frequency, how you want those metrics to be sent to Wavefront. It's developed in Etsy 2011, and it becomes very popular. This is just an example of architecture that DoorDash is using Wavefront with StatsD, and this is the restaurant on-demand business, and they are using StatsD and Wavefront for monitoring their order and deliveries. Dropwizard is used even in Wavefront. We use Dropwizard for monitoring our service, and it requires libraries, so you have to import the library, and then all metrics are placed in the registry and via daemon sent to Wavefront. you have capability to send metrics, and they are gathered either via UDP or TCP. Depends. Do you want overhead and confirmation of metrics transfer? And then when you get it, for instance, in this case, you have metrics cache evictions that is collected. It is collected from a source app-1 company, and you can have a point tags. The reason for having point tags is that you can later easier slice and dice your data when you are Wavefront and when you try to troubleshoot and find the issues. In this case, you can see that the data or metrics is collected in 5 seconds intervals. So this is just a snapshot of the Wavefront dashboard. The third open source metrics library that I'm going to cover is Micrometer. It's focused to Java developers, and it's very flexible. So if you like more flexibility, Micrometer is the right library for you, and it becomes more popular every day. It has a similar idea that you have to import the library, open source library, and then through the registry, you store your metrics and send it to Wavefront. Here you have a micrometer counter metrics, and from the app-1 source, and you have again tags DC and service for further slicing your data. Now, besides open source libraries that can help in instrumenting your application, you can do instrument application in different environments. In this case, I'm going to cover containerized environments, serverless environments, and the mobile to cloud environments. Regarding the containerized environments, there is nothing specifically different or difficult in instrumenting your application. The only difficulty comes is that there are so many containers. It can come up to 100,000 of containers that are needed to run your application. And for that, you have to have monitoring platform that can capture all that metrics and plot them real time. That's the major effort. So regarding Wavefront, it offers integration with Pivotal Container Service, PKS, as well as Kubernetes. So, and in this dashboard, you can see that there are general monitoring information that you can get, as well as your resource consumption, and you can create alerts from your metrics, and that will later help you resolve the issues. Regarding the instrumenting serverless functions, serverless are becoming more popular, and they are mostly applied for the applications that they need some trigger in order for some function to be performed. And the beauty of it is that you transfer all that maintenance that you need for serverless, for your function to run onto the cloud provider. So it does all the maintenance for you. Wavefront supports AWS Lambda functions as well as Azure functions or Google Cloud functions. And for the AWS Lambda functions, we have capability to use it directly through the CloudWatch, and it's an excellent way to do it, and you get your metrics when you are developing your application, because it comes with a 5 minutes delay and with a 1 minute granularity. In case if you want in production a little bit more real-time information and with smaller granularity, 1 second, Vapor has to offer AWS Lambda function SDK. So that's option to use. Regarding cloud to mobile applications, these days everybody wants and everybody is on the mobile, and you have to monitor your applications. Users are very nervous, and they don't tolerate if it takes longer time for the page to render. So that's the reason you have to monitor end part that is directly related to the end users, as well as the network and the back end, because if any issues on the back end, that will reflect on the front end users. So you have those 3 major components. Metrics for front end users that you want to monitor are application response time, definitely a few seconds, not more. Screen rendering time, and of course data plan usage, and also the useful information that you want to know is what type of device your user are using, or what's the browser, or what's even the release of your application, because you can gather useful information from that. On the back end, you want server response time, time to first byte, TCP connections. Yeah. Now, I'm just going to cover how Wavefront customers are using Wavefront and how it becomes more popular. Wavefront, for instance, 8x8 is a communication company, and they started with open source solution. That was a homegrown solution. They gathered their metrics and stored them in Influx DB and OpenTSDB. And after that, they plot them in Grafana. And at the beginning, that worked fine. However, when their business started to pick up, they had scaling issues, and slowly everybody started getting their own database and solution, and it was very hard to collaborate. At that point, they decided to try Wavefront. They gather all that information onto the single place. Collaboration is very easy. With one click, they can send the whole snapshots of the problem they're trying to solve. And within 6 months, around 400 to 500 engineers worldwide start using Wavefront there for monitoring, for troubleshooting, and for alerting. The second customer that I'm going to talk about is a large cloud content management leader. And they again started with the open source solution, and figure out that it doesn't meet their needs. Turn out to Wavefront, get everything on the single place, and today they are using Wavefront for serverless as well. So major reason why you want to use Wavefront for application code metrics instrumentation is, first, it's lightweight. It doesn't influence your performance. You won't notice that. The second is it's very easy to use. In 10 minutes, you can connect and start first metrics going. And the third reason is that we have out-of-the-box prepared dashboards that usually our customers start with, and later they start customizing their dashboards according to their needs. Wavefront enable you to quickly spot your anomalies, and to support that, we have released distributive tracing and AI Genie. Distributive tracing is between metrics in logs. So if you have any issues spotted on some of the dashboards, you want traces and spans to go a little bit deeper, and if it requires even more information to solve the problem, you can go to logs. Genie, AI Genie is our new release. It's ML based and enables even a novice user to use ML without any stats knowledge or algorithm knowledge. You don't need to tune up parameters, and it gives you from the noodle of your metrics, give you the ones that have done issues, and even pinpoint to the part of the time series where is the problem. Now you can immediately there from that ready-made query, you can save it as alert and use it as alert. And I should mention that the Wavefront has 160 or even more different integrations. So you can integrate with AWS services, you can integrate with Google, you can integrate with Azure. Also, you can get any data of on-premises or a hybrid solution. All that data, business data, you can get into the Wavefront and connect everybody from developers, SREs to solve the issues faster. So next step, what you can do is start a Wavefront trial. It's free for a month. All you have to do is go to the wavefront.com. And there is good documentation, and if you are not documented oriented, you can always Slack us, and there will be customer support to guide you. So this is all that I have, and if you have any questions regarding code instrumentation on Wavefront, I'm here. Thank you.